Alright guys, Red here. Welcome back to another Black Water Custodian. Today we're going to be finally getting into the game. We're going to be talking about how to set your spawn and where's a good place to make your home. We're going to go over your inventory, customization and ship insurance and things like that. But first off, we're going to start with your initial spawn point. And that's what I mean when I said home. So if you come into the persistent universe, the first thing it's going to ask you to do is create a character. Now the character creator is a bit weird, okay? You basically choose what you want to choose on this side and then you blend it with this one. So it appears here. So say you liked her eyes, this is how much of her eyes is on the character that you're making. And you just go through each one and you pick from the left, like, oh, that's pretty cool jaw, select a jaw, and then you drag it to add her jaw. It's weird. Obviously I'm not going to save that. Right, so when you're in here, it will ask for where you would like to set your home spawn. And I'll get into how to set your spawn point to somewhere else once we get into the game. But for now you're going to have to pick from one of these 4 locations. And it's going to say the Stanton system, and then it's going to say Microtech, Hurston, Artcore or Crusader. And they're all different and they all have pros and cons. I ran a poll on Twitter to see where everybody called home in Star Citizen, and the most popular was Microtech, then it was Artcore, then it was Hurston, and then it was Crusader. I would highly advise not to set your home residence as Crusader. Crusader is a gas giant and getting out the gravity well is an absolute nightmare. It takes ages, basically. Hurston is kind of central to the Stanton system. You have good access to all the other planetary systems. From there, you could do a lot of on-foot bunker missions there. You could do a lot of NPC bounty missions there. Some pretty good delivery missions there as well. Artcore is pretty good for mining. That's where I set my home. It's also got a nice residential area and stuff. Microtech is a really lovely planet. It's got some nice vegetation on it and stuff, and it's got its own set of missions that are quite unique to it as well. Basically, I can't really tell you where to set your home. It's really up to you, and the only way to find out is through trial and error. And what you're really doing here is you're selecting the hospital that you will wake up in if you die. So there's a city on each one of these planets, and in that city is a hospital, and that is where you will wake up if you happen to die. And we'll get into dying a bit later on. So pick one of them and then click enter Star Citizen Universe. Okay, so what's going to happen here is I'm going to wake up in a habitation, and how it works is every time you log out the game you wake up in a habitation, and the habitation you wake up in depends on the last place that you visited. If you visit a space station and then go flying out on your ship and then you log out, you'll wake up in a bed in that last space station that you visited. Okay, and your ship won't come with you. A lot of the ships have beds, however, and you can log out in a bed in a spaceship, make sure it's not moving, and you should sometimes wake up in that bed. Always make sure you're wearing a space helmet though, in case you wake up outside the ship, because that happens sometimes. So that's what happens when you log out. What happens when you die? Well, when you die, you wake up in a hospital. And what's essentially happening there is you have some sort of digital imprint of yourself and it's being reprinted. Your whole body and your consciousness and whatever is being rebuilt, and you wake up in a hospital bed and the last place that you set is spawn. Now by default, because I've picked Artcore here, I'll wake up in the Artcore hospital. But when you reach another hospital and you find them on space stations and other cities, you can set that location as your new spawn point. To set your spawn at a new location, you're going to want to come into any medical facility and you're going to want to look for insurance terminals. And just set your regeneration here. Now when you die, this will be the location that you wake up. What else happens when you die? Well, when you die, the chances are that you lose everything that you had on you. That includes your armour, your weapons, your ship if that was blown up, and everything that was on the ship as well. You lose everything basically. It is possible to get back to your body, although sometimes it's just not there when you get to the marker. This is Star Citizen, there is going to be bugs. You're going to find a lot of them. It's going to be really annoying. But I'm going to try and point out as many as I can as I'm explaining the basics, and hopefully tiptoe around them. It'll be as stress-free as possible. So when you die, you get reprinted, you lose everything unless you can find it again. Okay, so that's respawning covered. Let's move on to inventory. So you've probably woken up with nothing but your undersuit and a pistol, and that's fine. You've probably got a few grand on you. You could just find a shop and get some armour, get some equipment, get some food, things like that. So you're going to come to one of these terminals and you can set your destination. Now this is pretty important. Basically you have... Hold on, let me come out of here first and press I for inventory. You have a local inventory. So this is the city. This is the city's inventory. Your inventory within the city. And it's a lot. If I was to stick some armour on, then I would gain some personal inventory. And if I was standing in a ship, there would be a ship's inventory as well. And also, if I had a bag in my hands, this would have an inventory as well. And I could open it. And then I could transfer things from that inventory into personal or local or ship's inventory. So there's a lot of inventories is what I'm trying to say. And nobody teaches you this stuff, but it's very, very handy to know. So okay, let's go over the basics of working with this inventory. So you can drag an item over to your body, or you can just double click and it'll jump onto your body. In order to get an armour on, you need the bodysuit on first. So the basics for going out flying in space is a bodysuit and a helmet. That'll mean that you can breathe outside your ship. That's the absolute basics that you need. And if you're just doing a mission where you're going out and you're bounty hunting in space and there's a high chance that you can die, don't wear any armour because you will lose it, guaranteed 80% of the time. And going back to find your body is just eating up time that you could be spending making money. So if you're doing dangerous missions where you don't need armour, don't wear any. That's my recommendation. So you can drag things to the body, you can double click things to the body. And when you wear armour, it opens up a bunch of slots. And you can stick some arms on, you can stick some legs on. This is the worst colour coordination I've ever seen, but you get the idea. There's also slots on your back for weapons now. Without the armour, you don't get that slot. I can put 2 guns on my back with this armour. Some armours you can only wear 1. You could also stick a backpack on as well. So you can use the arrow keys to spin round and give you a better view of things. You can drag food from any of these inventories into your hand, or you can right click it and say carry, inspect, drink or drop. So in order to drink that, I need the helmet off. Hold down F and bring up this menu to do whatever you like with it, or you could just hold left click and you'll start drinking that. Okay, so back into the inventory. You have inventory slots now, and you can use these for putting magazines on, and you'll see them appear here. You also have utilities. This is a multi-tool, so your multi-tool can be used as a tractor beam. So you can like grab and throw things around with it, pull them towards you, place them, etc. And there's a mining head for it as well. So you would just drag that into there and it goes into the multi-tool. There's a medical one as well, but I don't think that works currently. And there's a medical gun as well, we'll need to go over that. Okay, so with a medical gun in your hand, you push B, you can bring it up to yourself. Normally, you would just hold right click and then you could shoot an injured player to heal them. But if you hold B, you can bring up this menu and you can click advanced here and just set this to auto, and it will figure out what's wrong with you and what you need, and then you just left click to dose yourself if you're injured. That's the multi-tool covered. There's also med pens. Here's some med pens. these go in a slot at your waist here. And a med pen, you just push C, you bring it up, and you can inject yourself like that. You could also hold right click on another player to revive them as well. Anything else I've missed in here? I think that's everything. Oh, these ammo slots. If you happen to have a partial magazine, those blue dots going around there, there'll be less of them, indicating how full the magazine is. That's pretty handy to know in a gunfight. Okay, so the inventory in general then is sorted into categories, as you can see, but you can use this custom filters thing here and just untick that and just bring up all the helmets or all the cores. If you're looking for something specific, that's a pretty handy way of finding things. A couple more quick things we should probably go over is placing items. So if let me see, I got a med pen here. I can place that on the ground like that. Or if I just lift my head up, it brings up a throwing arc. I can just yeet that. There is also weapon customization, so let me get my gun in my hands, it's easier with the gun in my hands. This is like a field light and a scope. You can just slot the scope onto the icon that appears there, or if you hold or press J here and click where you want things to go. Do it like that. Also, I should mention that this ship inventory, you're the only person that can access and see that. If you have a friend with you, they can use the ship inventory, but you can't share it. You can't take their stuff, they can't take your stuff. Sort of annoying, probably get fixed at some point. As I said earlier, the safest place for your equipment is in a station or a city inventory. If it's on your body, you can lose it. If it's in the ship, you can lose it. And insurance doesn't help that. I'm going to be going over insurance in a bit, but basically you can reclaim your ship, but it won't bring back any of your items from your body or that was in the cargo of your ship. And this is like the internal storage of your ship. It also might have cargo storage, which is for hauling actual cargo boxes, big boxes, and they're two completely separate things. And also, if you leave this ship somewhere, unless you know exactly where it is, the chances are you'll never find it again. It will come up on your HUD if you're within a certain range of it, but it's not a very big range. And the only way to get that ship back will be through insurance. So if you leave the ship somewhere and jump server, it's gone. And the problem is, there's no markers in the game yet. You can't mark things or positions or anything at all like that. That isn't part of a mission. Another thing, if you want to move items, say you had guns for your ship, then the only way to get that from one station to the other is to literally load it into your ship and move it physically across the system. Okay, now we're going to talk about ship insurance. Ship insurance is exactly what it sounds like. If you lose your ship, you can claim it back. If it gets destroyed, you can claim it back. This is your ship terminal. And here will be all the ships that you own, no matter where they are. So if I have a ship here, it will say retrieve. If it's anywhere else, it will say claim. Now you can use ship claim to move your ships around. However, again, if there's anything on that ship, such as cargo or even armor and things, guns, whatever, in the internal storage, it all gets lost. However, if it's upgraded ship components and guns on the ship and things like that, that all gets preserved. And when you get your ship back here, it'll be brand new, fully repaired, fully restocked, bright and shiny. Now if I try and claim a ship, you'll see that there's a delivery time. This is the penalty. You can file that claim and it'll just cost you the time, or you can pay an expedited fee. In this case it's about 3,500, but even then you'll still have the 2 minutes. Now if this was a bigger ship, this can be, going up to half an hour, and this can be 20 odd thousand. But bear in mind, in a lot of cases, to get your ship back from most situations, claiming it is going to be the only way to do it until there's some sort of persistence across servers or some sort of indication on your HUD so that you can find your ship again. And that about covers it. I will say that most of the starter ships, most of the smaller ships, like say this 100i here, you can pretty much get that instantly, no matter where it is. Or the Aurora, or the Mustang, things like that. There are some ships that you can claim really fast and pay a relatively small fee, like this Tana here is like 50 seconds. The expedited fee is only 500 credits, so you know, if you need to get somewhere quick, that's always a nice option. And that is basically what we're going to cover today. In the next episode we're going to cover getting off this rock, accepting missions and learning how to fly. Maybe even cover some basic customization options for your ships. And that's all I've got. Remember, like and subscribe. 07 guys.